low tech. This is about as low tech as you can get. It's been 10 years on from the onset of our invasion of Iraq. Second time. And I just want to comment a couple quick comments here in the morning. I'll post this later on. Maybe I'll try to edit it into another video, but hopefully this will work out. But there was an incident when we first went into Iraq. And I don't know if you can read this here, but let's see if I can. Well, you know what I'll do with this? I'll just zoom in a little bit. And turn my little stand up, my little homemade stand here, so we can focus. And we were bombing Baghdad, and the troops weren't there yet. And total chaos just ensued, you know what I mean? People just went crazy, just like everywhere in the world. If this happened, they would go crazy and start looting, right? That's what they were doing, looting. And one of the things they were doing, and there was a nuclear research facility, and actually what it was a research facility. There were several facilities, but the big one was the one that, it was I think it was a reactor. They were going to build a reactor there, and the reactor was capable of refining uranium to weapons grade. The Israelis came in and bombed them in 1981 and put that plan on hold. But what they did is the place, after the Israelis bombed it, I mean the place was, you know, pretty contaminated with radioactive material. So what happened is, this is Iraq, this is 81, the international nuclear watchdog people came in, and they turned the site into a storage area where they would store the nuclear material that was the waste from the bombing and the reactor they were building, and plus some radioactive material from medical research and that, and it was all stored at this site. The nuclear commission kept an eye on it, and it was all logged. So if you remember about the war was going on for a while, and Rumsfeld and Bush and Cheney, they're all saying, well, they can't find the weapons of mass destruction, so they start saying, he's got yellow cake uranium. Oh my God, the yellow cake. But everybody knew he had the yellow cake. It was documented by the nuclear watchdog people that had been overseeing this site since 1981, after the Israelis bombed it. And you know, it's just all fucking smoke and mirrors, man. Now, you can look up this site here. There's 7 Iraqi nuclear sites looted. Now, the story that goes along with this is what happened is these people, they broke into this factory, and there's these huge safes, and they were locked, and they had seals on them, and they thought that there was material in there that might be worth something, you know, some kind of I don't know what they thought were in there, some precious metals or something that was valuable. And they broke in, and all they found was these containers of this yellow cake uranium and radioactive waste. But they had, I read one story, there was like 200 containers at the one facility, and they just dumped it on the ground outside. They were looking in it, and there was, like, you know, this yellow sand, and they don't know what the hell it is, right? But later on, as the war progressed, the American forces, they were told to keep an eye out for these containers, and they said they saw them miles away. People were using them, the Iraqis were using these containers, these heavy-duty plastic containers, for water storage and food storage, and the kids were like playing in them, and they contain the yellow cake material, which is a byproduct of, you know, when they're making the rods for the fuel rods for the reactors. But that's pretty weird. Now, I mean, they dumped this stuff everywhere. I mean, there's just tons of it dumped everywhere in Baghdad while we are bombing. It was really dry there during that time. They were having a lot of the sandstorms and all that crap. And this is something you don't see, something nobody ever reported on. But see, the problem with this is going to live with this for a very long time. these troops that were exposed to this. And there's another story here about some radioactive material stolen in Egypt, yellow cake. And they don't know where it is. It's not really radioactive, but what they could do is if they let it go in a city, the city would have to evacuate, even though it really wasn't be a lot of danger for anybody. Unless you're like using them for water storage or playing in them. Now this is really going to affect the Iraqis in the future. Really, really horrible. Now, American in distress. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Now, but yellow haze over Baghdad. Now, I remember this story. Because, you know, I was all for this war when it first happened. I saw Bush on that pile of rubble, and I listened to Rush Limbaugh, and I was an idiot, man. I fell for this shit, hook, line, and sinker. But thank God we learned how to, we gained wisdom and learned how to realize it's just all propaganda wars, money, and the same people seem to profit every time over the last few hundred years. But Baghdad is burning, and there's a yellow haze. Now crunch this in. There's a yellow haze over Baghdad. U.S.-led troops lay within 50 miles of the yellow haze over Baghdad. You ever see a helicopter come in, especially in a sandy area or dry area? And we had helicopters everywhere. And we were bombing. And there was sandstorms. This stuff was just getting mixed up with everything, and it's everywhere. And, you know, the troops are probably living in it. Thanks, George Bush. Yep, it was a good war. And, you know, the problem with it is it's not over yet. I don't even still understand what the end game was, unless the end game was total chaos and the continuing flow of oil using American dollars as the only way to buy it, trade. And that we accomplished. As we accomplished that in Libya. And in Libya we cut off the spigot to the Nubian aquifer. They want, you know, that water the Israelis want for themselves. They're not going to let those aquifers be tapped by anybody. Okay. One more thing. Huffington Post. Oh, wait, let's go this way here. Now, all this gay marriage stuff, look, I don't care. I don't judge people. I don't care what you do. I don't like it being thrown in my face. But I don't like regular, like, sex people being thrown in my face. You know, I mean, just stay out of my face with all your shit. But this is why I don't watch the news. But in the last few days, every headline on Huffington Post was something about gay people. And, you know, like, why you gotta throw it in my face? I don't care, you know. I don't care. It's your life. But the thing is, it's thrown in our face, thrown in our face. Now, because this reminds me of one thing I keep saying or telling everybody that will listen about the days of Noah. I tell them to, people tell me that I want to talk to God, I listen to God, and I tell them, I say, look, if I can tell you how to talk to God, I said, how much is that worth to you? Oh, well, everything, right? So, I said, okay, whatever you tithe, give to me, and I'll tell you how to contact God, and you can be in contact all the time, every minute, every day. And they're skeptical. How are you going to do that? I just open up the Bible and say, look, read the red letters there. That's the Christ. He walked the earth. That's God on earth. That's what he left us. The God's not going to come down and talk to you. God doesn't tell people to buy guns or store up on food or do this or do that. God doesn't talk to people. If people are hearing God's voice, they need to see a fucking psychiatrist, okay? Now, but I keep saying the days of Noah, man, you know, just read the Christ on the hill and, you know, after the Mount of Olives speech and all that. But in one of the Gospels, they record Christ as saying, like, this was an all-night thing. You know, you read the Gospels and what happened here, there's tiny parts of what really happened. They were talking, I mean, if somebody told all these people all these things and then you got them alone and you ask him about these crazy things he was saying, it would take all night because everybody wanted to know. Anyway, that's, you know, the disciples speaking to Christ. But in one of the Gospels, I think John or Mark, it recorded that the Christ said in, these last evil days we live in is going to be, he says like the days of Noah, but then he says like the days of Lot. Like the days of Lot. And if you don't know what that means, look it up, because I'm not going to sit here and explain it to you. But it had a lot to do with this gay stuff, and how it was, there's always been gay people forever, but how it just was thrust into the society to make it acceptable with everybody, and even in our law system. Why is it even, why is government even in our business, in marriage and stuff? Why? Oops, I'm shaking here. I don't understand it, but he said one of the Gospels, they recorded Christ saying it'll be like the days of Lot. And like I said, research it for yourself. Look at it. Another Senator Beck's marriage equality. Well, you know something? It shouldn't even be a law. It shouldn't even be involved in the government.